Hey everybody, just wanted to do this as like a little introduction slash update slash FAQ slash whatever for the N64 challenge. The channel has been growing a ton lately, like the amount of new subscribers I'm getting is wild. If you're new here, welcome. I get a lot of very similar comments, and so I figured I'd make this video to answer them, and maybe some of you who haven't commented before also are curious about these things. So you may be wondering, why are you doing this challenge? Why the N64? So you may see if you're here, like, I upload all kinds of Mario content. Mario Maker, Super Mario World, and that's because I used to only play those games, and I decided to expand my stream and play other stuff. And a while back, I was like, I want to play, Nintendo released that Switch Online update, and you could play the Super Nintendo Donkey Kong games. I was like, I'm gonna play Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3, and I did. And then everybody was like, oh, make sure you don't play DK64, it's really bad. And I was like, I remember playing that and it was decent. And I did end up playing it, and it was decent. That's the first video in the challenge. But you guys can see that back then, I don't know if you listened to the full VOD of the game, I wasn't really talking about the challenge. It wasn't really in that format. And it's because I didn't know I was going to do this challenge. What happened is when I started playing DK64, I was really nostalgic for the N64. I was like, man, there's all these good games I could play, you know, like Mario 64, obviously, Mario Kart, Banjos, Silicon Valley, NBA Hang Time, so many. And so I was talking about them with my chat, and people kept saying all these games I'd never heard of, like Mischief Makers, or Jet Force Gemini, or Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, things like that. And I was like, wow, that sounds fun. And people just kept recommending more and more and more games. And eventually I was like, you know what? You guys just keep adding games to this list. How about we do all of them? So if you recall back in like the 2010s, the Mexican runner did a challenge called Nesmania, where he played and beat every NES game. It was really cool, and it's kind of directly inspired from that. Pretty obvious. But I think it's a really cool challenge. It keeps me playing all kinds of different games. You don't get bored because there's so many different ones. So that's kind of the idea. The N64, I got one back on my 5th birthday, and it's the first console I ever got. Like, we had a Super Nintendo, but I don't remember getting that. I vividly remember getting the N64. There's a lot of nostalgia for me, you know? And some people may say, wow, that's so many games, how long is it going to take? Yeah, it's going to take a while. If you look at the spreadsheet I have where I list statistics about all the games, I have an estimated date of completion based on the average time for every game so far. And I think currently it says May 2024 is when it will be finished. So that's definitely, that's a long time away. And that's kind of the videos are coming out slowly. But even if I put a video, say, immediately after I beat a game, the video series wouldn't finish until then at a minimum. And I've been trying to get videos out more quickly, you know. There's been 2 a week for the last few weeks, and it's hard to do when there's longer videos, but I really want to catch up the videos to the physical, actual progress. The actual challenge, we're quite ahead by about 35 games, maybe, something like that. Yeah, this video doesn't have any fancy editing. My editor is Crawl. He does amazing work. He's the one editing all the N64 stuff. And it takes both of us a lot of time to do them. But, yeah. So we're going to be doing this for a while. I don't plan to quit. I've been having a lot of fun doing this. So a few questions I get. Are you playing on original hardware? Yes and no.
Ready?
So, if you watch the very early videos, in the intro I talked about how I was playing on original hardware, and, you know, just like it was back in the day. That's not technically true, because, I do have a vanilla, a factory N64, I guess, but it is HDMI modded as of the after the Indiana Jones video is when I got the HDMI mod. It's the Pixel FX HDMI mod. It's very, very nice. It makes the games look so good. But I am playing on just a regular N64 controller. It's the ASCII model, so that's what those knobs in the middle are. And it has a, what are they called? Steel Stick 64 steel bowl in it for the joystick. I've been playing for about 600 hours with this controller, and the joystick still feels like factory new. It's great. I would highly recommend one if you play a lot of N64. And then the games. No, I do not have a complete collection of N64 carts. When I said that, I guess I just assumed this is more popular than it really is, but there's a device called an EverDrive. It's made by Crix, and you can use it to play N64 games on console and boot them off of an SD card. It's really cool. So yeah, I'm not playing on all the original carts, but everything else is original hardware. So I guess I wasn't trying to deceive people with that, but it's not emulator. I don't like using emulators, and specifically the N64 emulator is very, very bad. And then, okay, so in the intro of the old videos, I said I would use no guides, no outside help, and I did intend to do that. And, one thing, it's just kind of hard, because I stream these live, and with Twitch chat being there, people get excited you're playing their favorite game, and they want to tell you everything about it. Not necessarily, like, to make you have a bad time, they're excited, they want to share that experience with you, you know? So, sometimes I learn things that I shouldn't have through Twitch chat. But even then, some games, specifically the Japanese games I've been playing, the language barrier is rough, and I've used some guides for those, and I feel that's fair to do because it's not my fault I don't know Japanese. If the game were in English, I wouldn't need the guide. But I do try to do everything all on my own as much as possible. I don't intentionally seek out outside help, you know? So that leads into the next question. Why do you include Japanese exclusive games in this list? It's definitely an interesting one. When I did this project, some people told me there were some pretty cool Japanese exclusives, which there are. If you don't know, Animal Crossing is on the N64. It's very, very cool. And some of those games have English translation patches, which I will always use if it's available. Animal Crossing is one of those. For all the others, though, it's in Japanese. That's Harley barking. For all the others, it's in Japanese, and I heavily underestimated how difficult the language barrier would be. I thought I could use translation apps to help, and they do, but even with that, it's tough. If I were to start from scratch, I would probably only include the ones with English translation patches, but since I'm not, it's too late to change it, and I don't mind it. It's just kind of frustrating because an overall super easy game could become difficult just because I don't know how to read anything in it, you know? But it's fun, and it introduces people to some new things, like the dating sim, Get or Love. That was definitely fun. And there's actually an English translation patch for that game, almost done, so that should be very exciting. I want to replay it when that comes out. But yeah, it's just cool to include the Japanese games, you know. Most of them you would have never heard of them until this challenge, so it's kind of neat to me. Okay, and sometimes people ask, why are certain games left off the list? And that's a good question. So there are currently there were 4 games intentionally left off the list. One is Densha Go, which was the train simulator. And I left that off because I was waiting to get my HDMI N64 because, not only does it upscale it into HDMI, but it handles resolution changes. This generation of console, N64, PS1, Sega Saturn, games change resolution a lot from 240p to 480i, and most retro capturing devices will just break when that happens, like the feed dies and you have to manually reset it. And Densha Go did that a lot, so I wanted to wait until I had that to play it. The others, there's currently a Japanese game, I don't even remember what it's called, but it's basically a visual novel. And there's almost a translation patch ready for that, it's coming soon. So I wanted to just take that off the list till that patch is there. And then there's Disney DDR. It's a Japanese exclusive. For some reason, there's a DDR game on the N64. It has a bunch of Disney songs in it. I have no idea how this happened, but it's a game that exists. And if you're wondering, I do have the controller for it. There is an N64 DDR pad. And the reason I'm leaving it off the list is because I don't want to randomly draw it. When I play that game, I'm gonna have to heavily alter my setup. Like, I want to have a camera showing you guys me playing on the dance pad, so it's gonna take some effort. I still don't know when I'm playing that, but I just don't want that one randomly drawn. It would not go well. And finally, there are 2 versions of Mario 64. You may have heard of the Shindo Paktao version. I don't know if I said that right, but they patched out BLJs. It's a Japanese exclusive. It's considered 2 separate releases. And I leave that off the list just because I want the final game to be hype, you know? And what more hype is there than Mario 64? I guess you could have Zelda, but I can't beat Zelda in a single session. Mario 64, I can get 120 stars in 3-4 hours, something like that, so I just want to save that for the finale. I think that's just, it's going to make it really cool. And then, okay, so I get asked a lot about the difficulty in games. So I decided to make a rule because people were asking about Mortal Kombat. They were like, hey, if you play a game like Mortal Kombat and just play on easy, you're going to beat it in like 5 minutes. It's going to be free. And that's true. So I don't want to do that. And the compromise we came to is we have to at least play on the default difficulty. So let's say I go to the options, it's on normal. I can't set it to easy or very easy, anything like that. I could make it harder if I want. For example, when I play GoldenEye, I plan to play on Double O Agent, I think it's called, whatever the hardest one is. So I just can't make it easier. And typically, if it's a fun game, I will bump up the difficulty, but some people seem to not like that I play, like, there was a racing game recently where I left it on easy or very easy, something. And the game was really easy, and just, there's like so many racing games on this console, and we got handed a freebie. It was like, hey, here's this super easy racing game. I just wanted to take the win where you can get it. Like, the sports games and racing games, if they're just not that interesting, I don't know. Some people think you should have to play on at least this, but every game, the difficulties are named differently, things. It becomes a subjective thing, I feel. So just having it say you have to at least be on the default, I think makes it fair. Some of you may disagree, but that's how I feel, and for the most part, the difficulty is usually set to, like, normal or medium or whatever. And then sports games. Common question, I guess, how are you beating a sports game? You barely played this sports game. It doesn't seem like you beat it. The sports games are interesting. Let's say some baseball game. I don't know, like Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball, whatever it's called. I played that one recently. We could play through a full, what is it, like 158 game season, and one game of baseball may take 45 minutes or so, so you multiply that by 159, and then the playoffs, you're looking at the longest game ever, and it's going to be very boring, it's going to be tedious. People will not want to watch it anymore. It won't add anything to the video because it's just, yeah, I played the same baseball game 100 plus times. So what I do is I set a win condition specifically for sports games where I need to beat the championship game in the quickest way possible. And sometimes, like, I don't want to just play one game and say that's it. Like, winning the championship feels like you've succeeded, like you've reached the end, In a lot of sports games, you can just do a playoffs mode. You don't have to do a season, you just skip right to the playoffs. And that's usually a few games. It's not too bad. It's kind of a middle ground where you're playing it enough to get the full experience, but it's also not hundreds of hours, Like, it could just take so long. So, sports games, they're a necessary evil. There's a lot of them. A lot of them. And it's just how it is. When you're playing the 10th basketball game, you don't want to play the 100 plus game season. Like, nobody wants to watch that. It's more for just keeping people entertained rather than, fully completing the game or whatever. Like, I'm trying to make you guys entertained, so that's just how I personally feel. It would make better content in the end. And I think there was one other thing. Well, I don't have a script for this. If you can't tell, I'm just rambling while I play Mario Party horribly. So if you are interested, I do stream playthroughs of these games. These videos aren't me just watching somebody else's play and talking about it, like I'm actually beating them. I stream on my Twitch channel, which is in the video description. Beware. I know some of you don't look ahead or anything like that. You're treating this strictly as a video series, and that's fine.
Ready?
So if you do come to the stream, we are quite ahead of where we are on YouTube. Like I said, I'm trying my best to get YouTube to catch up, but it's hard. These videos take a lot of time to make. But yeah, I stream the playthroughs every Tuesday through Friday from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern, as well as Sunday from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So about 22 hours a week. Something like that. Love to have you come hang out. It's really fun. I won't say what we're currently playing, but yes, we are very ahead. So just that's a spoiler warning, whatever, because I do know that some people, they like to see the next game drawing. They don't look ahead at the spreadsheet or anything like that. But yeah, if I did miss anything, I tried to cover everything because I do see a lot of very common questions. Yeah, if I missed anything, leave a comment below. I read every comment I get. I'm just really horrible at responding to them. Typically, I talk about things in the video that I see in the comments, doing something like this, although I don't do like an FAQ video ever, just kind of add it to the commentary. But anyway, whether you're here new or you've been here forever, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Everybody who's liking the series, it's gone way beyond my expectations. I never expected it to get as big as it has. So just thank you, and I'm really enjoying making these. It's very new. I've never done anything like this, and I love the N64. It is great. But yeah, I guess thanks for watching.